It was supposed to be just another dull afternoon in chemistry, the kind of day where you stare at the clock more than your notes, where the teacher rambles about covalent bonds while half the class is counting the minutes to the final bell. It was Wednesday, 6th period, and a storm had been creeping in all day, thick gray clouds casting the building in this weird, dim light. Our teacher, Mr. Holden, was the strict type. No phones, no jokes, no mercy. But even he seemed thrown off by the weather. Thunder cracked so loudly at one point that everyone jumped, and he just chuckled and said, "Storm's got teeth today." About halfway through the period, the lights flickered once, then again, and then they shut off completely. We all groaned. The school had a backup generator, but it took a minute to kick in. That's when the intercom buzzed, once, short and sharp. Then silence. No announcement, no static, just dead air. Mr. Holden walked over to the door and peeked into the hallway, muttering something about checking with the office. But he froze there, just standing in the doorway. I'll never forget the look on his face when he turned back to us. His usual cold, stiff expression replaced with something I'd never seen before. Fear. "Everyone, move to the back wall. Now." We all looked around, confused, but he was already turning off the lights and shutting the blinds. The emergency lights didn't come on. We were in near total darkness. Only the occasional flash of lightning lit up the room for a second or two. He locked the door and hissed at us to stay quiet. That's when we heard the footsteps, heavy, dragging, like someone was limping. They echoed down the hallway outside, slow, unhurried, like whoever it was knew no one was going anywhere. Then came the whistling, a low, tuneless hum that sounded almost cheerful, and completely out of place. A girl sitting near me started to cry quietly. I squeezed her hand, more for my own comfort than hers. We heard the footsteps stop right outside our door, then knocking. 3 soft knocks, then silence. The doorknob rattled. Someone on the other side whispered, "Let me in." Mr. Holden raised a finger to his lips. No one moved. The voice came again, but louder, less human this time. "I know you're in there." Then came the scratching, not like fingernails, like metal, scraping along the glass window of the door, back and forth, then tapping, sharp and rhythmic, like the tip of a knife. Another flash of lightning illuminated the door window. There was someone standing there, but he wasn't facing us. His back was to the glass, head tilted unnaturally to the side, like he was listening to something we couldn't hear. He was soaking wet, clothes clinging to him, hair matted down, but still just standing, motionless. Then he slowly turned. His face was pale, mouth twisted in a grin far too wide, his eyes locked straight on us. Except they weren't normal, pure black, no whites, just endless darkness. He raised his hand and pointed at the door like he could see through it. Then, just like that, he was gone. We waited in silence for what felt like an hour. No more footsteps, no whistling, nothing. Eventually, the principal's voice came over the intercom, but it was distorted, scratchy. "All students remain calm. Do not leave your rooms. Help is coming." That was it. Later, when the police finally arrived and escorted us out, they checked every camera in the school. Not a single one showed a man in the hallway. Nothing outside the chem lab door. No footprints, no signs of forced entry. But the door had deep scratches gouged into the glass. And someone had written something on the outside in the condensation. "I found you." I'm 23 years old, recently hired by a small local college to help maintain their outdated computer systems. My job is mainly confined to the old tech wing of the campus, a part of the building most students don't even know exists. It's tucked behind the newer facilities, and honestly, it feels more like a relic than an active part of the school. Most of the time, I'm alone. The tech wing's basement is where I work. It's dusty, filled with towering metal shelves stacked with ancient monitors, tangled cables, and forgotten printers. My actual office, however, is decent, small but cozy. It has a sturdy desk, a coffee machine I brought from home, a couch I scavenged from the lounge upstairs, and a little side table where I keep snacks. There's no cell reception down there, but we have a landline and Ethernet. A couple weeks ago, I stayed late to finish installing new firmware on the main server. Everyone else had gone home for the weekend. Around 6:30 p.m., the sun had already started setting, casting long shadows through the small, grime-covered basement windows. I didn't notice how quiet it had become until I heard the door at the top of the stairs creak open. I paused, expecting to hear footsteps or voices, but there was only silence. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing. I figured it was just one of the janitors. Sometimes they pop in to grab supplies from the storage room next door. I went back to work, clicking through a diagnostics panel. About 5 minutes later, the lights flickered. Not a full blackout, just a quick stutter. The hum of the overhead lights resumed, but something felt off. My stomach turned for no real reason. I decided to call it a night, saving my work and shutting down the monitor. As I stood up and stretched, I heard movement from deeper in the basement, not the office, not the stairwell. From the back, near the archive cages. I froze. There shouldn't be anyone down here. I quietly stepped out into the hallway and listened, shuffling, slow, dragging footsteps, then a sound like something brushing against the chain-link gate that surrounds the archive. I stood still, hardly breathing, until I heard a faint voice. It sounded like someone whispering my name. I backed up slowly toward the office, keeping my eyes on the hallway. The whisper came again. Closer this time. My name, clearly, but strained, like it came from someone who hadn't spoken in a long time. I reached the office, shut the door, and turned off the lights. My hand hovered over the landline. Should I call security? Campus police? I didn't even know the after-hours number. I tried dialing out, but the line was dead. The light on the modem was off. Then I saw movement from the window across the hall. Someone passed by. I only saw the lower half, worn jeans, dark shoes. They stopped right outside, then turned. The door handle rattled. I crouched under the desk and held my breath. The handle turned again, slowly this time. No knocking, no calling out. Just the mechanical rattle of someone testing whether the lock would give. Then it stopped. I waited. Minutes passed. Then, without warning, the old CRT monitor in the corner of the room, one I hadn't even turned on, buzzed to life. The screen lit up bright white with a blinking cursor in the top left. Letters began to appear, slowly, as if someone were typing remotely. I see you. I bolted out from under the desk, yanked open the door, and sprinted for the stairs. The hallway lights flickered wildly, casting disorienting shadows that danced along the walls. As I reached the stairwell, I glanced back once, and I swear I saw a figure at the end of the hall facing me. It wasn't a janitor. It wasn't anybody normal. Its head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and its arms hung too long by its sides. It didn't move as I ran. I didn't stop until I burst out of the building into the cool night air. I went straight to the security office, but they found nothing. No one in the basement. No trace of the typed message. The camera footage had a full hour of static during the time I was down there. I quit the next morning. I don't care what they pay or how much they beg. I'll never go near that basement again.